Hello. I think I'm recording this one the earliest I've ever recorded one of these. It is just past midnight. I do have to get up quite early, so there's that, and that's why I'm recording so early. I have terrible news, though. It would seem that the muffin I spoke of in a previous episode, the one with the jelly in it, is no longer being sold at Tim Hortons. I've had to switch to the blueberry muffin, but it's not the same. It's not even close. Uh, it's a shame, right? I'm sure this happens to at least one person in their life, right? Where there's that one thing that they enjoy a lot from a store or a shop or whatever, but they just happen to be one of very few people who actually enjoy it or buy it or order it. So it gets taken off the shelf, or they stop making it, or it's limited offer. It happens so much, right, that I'm sure it's happened at least once to everybody. And if it hasn't happened to you yet, then hold on very tightly to those things that you enjoy now. The food, I mean, as it could disappear later. I've got myself a bit behind in school again. It's not good. I've sort of just put myself in this state where my week never really ends, right? I don't have a weekend per se. I have 3 days where I don't have regular work, but my other job might call me to do design revisions, and I have class those days, so I don't really have a weekend. And these past 2 weeks, I've had extra things to do on those days that have taken up a lot of my time. And it's put me a bit behind in the goings on in my classes. I think I can crawl back up to speed. I hope. But at least for an assignment due tomorrow, which I, for the sake of making it to class, will not work on tonight, I think there's a slim chance I get that assignment to where I want it to be. Still, it happens, and there's nothing stopping me from continuing at it even after I've handed it in, right? Like, it's my thing. I'm just getting graded on where it is at the deadline. other than the muffin thing, I've been meaning to write down things I think I could talk about on here. But I keep forgetting to. I'm lucky I remembered the muffin thing because it's been out of shop for, I think 2 weeks now. Like, the last time I had one was when I spilled it on myself during the incident with the cookie. Right, so however long ago that was the last time I had one. And that could have been the last time they were in shop. I don't know when they restock, but getting to know people is kind of a scary process, right? And I don't mean like meeting new people and learning their names and what they do, but really knowing a person, like being able to, like knowing what their favorite color is, what their favorite season is, and what their sleep schedule might be like, or what their plans are for the future. And I feel all of the people I've met at work and all of the people I've met at school, or I don't know them. I know their name and they know mine, and I have a general idea of how some of them act, right? Their personalities, but I don't know anything about them. But it feels cheap, maybe? No, cheap's not the word. Improper? Backwards? Or strange? It feels strange just to ask somebody those types of questions, right? Like, what's your favorite color? Because without, like, roping it into a conversation, just asking it out of the blue makes, to me at least, it seems like I'm struggling to make idle conversation. It makes me look a bit like a buffoon, right? Maybe that's fine, but I don't know. I struggle with that. I do know one of my co-workers' favourite colours. So there's that, right? But nobody at school, and I feel like that would come up more often with how everybody is an artist creating art and all those things. You think with that it'd be a more prominent introductory question. I do make it a point to let everybody know that my favourite colour is blue. There was a point in high school where people would introduce me as, like, this is my name, he likes blue. That's how they'd introduce me to other people. I was the guy who liked blue, and I still do like blue. Oh. I may have talked about this before, but if if I haven't, then yeah, he knew information. But there's this cafe. It's a ways away from my house, like some 30 kilometers, maybe 40. It's like a 20-minute, half an hour drive. And this cafe is Pokemon themed, and they stomach just made a noise. It's Pokemon themed, and they sell Pokemon cards there, and they sell Pokemon themed drinks and other board games and Pokemon merch. I don't know if it's officially licensed or something like that, but it is very well done. And I've been around there a number of times. It is a happenstance, but I've been going there deliberately for about half a year because they sell a Lavender London Fog themed after Lavender Town from the first Pokemon game. And it is fantastic. It's a great drink. I've never been inside of a Second Cup or a Starbucks or any fancy coffee place. So these like fancy coffees and teas are extremely unfamiliar to me. But this thing, the Lavender London Fog, I love, and I've been trying my damnedest for like half a year, like since I started going there, to make them at home. Because I asked the guy behind the counter, like, what are the ingredients the first time I went there? And I've remembered that list. And I've tried making tea using that. And the ingredients are Earl Grey tea, honey, frothed milk, and lavender syrup. And I already had the other ingredients at home, right? But lavender syrup, I couldn't find a store that sold it anywhere. I know I could have bought it off Amazon, but I don't like buying foodstuffs off Amazon. So I tried just adding regular maple syrup, and that tasted fine, but it didn't have the same flavour. I tried getting lavender Earl Grey tea, but the blend I found also had a citrus kick to it that I wasn't really fond of. It didn't ruin it, but it didn't add what I wanted. But finally, the store where I work the day before yesterday, got some in a single box of lavender syrups. And one of my co-workers noticed this, and they knew I had been looking for it, so they set it aside, and I finally bought it today. And I can't make the tea at this hour, because again, I'm going to sleep after I upload this. But tomorrow, I'm making that tea, without a doubt, right after work, or maybe before work, I don't know. We'll see. It's, I hope it turns out alright. Like I said, I have no experience with fancy drinks or fancy coffee, so I'm just sort of taking a shot in the dark, and maybe this is the right syrup, maybe it's the right flavour. It says lavender on the bottle, meets the description, but only time will tell. We got to the next series of scripts in the script reading portion of the production class, and the previous series was extremely silly, but this current one is very grim and very dark, and across the board, extremely well written. Like, really well written, like extremely captivating, because they've come up with this whole world and magic system, and they really developed the hell out of it. And the way they've written it is, it's not a series, actually. It's not like, there is no chronological order to the episodes that matters. It's an anthology. So different stories, same world. And because of that, every episode has such interesting perspective to it. And there's maybe one or two characters that exist in more than one episode. The people who wrote these scripts are the classmates that I talk with the most. So I've like had little insights into the whole thing while it was being made. What is my voice doing? What is that? Weird. Anyway, I've had little insights into it while it was being made, and because of that I thought I had the scope of the thing, but I did not. It pains me that we're doing the script readings the way we are doing them, which is random selection for the cast of whoever happens to be in the classroom, because this comes with it. There's like maybe 5 people in the class who care much about how they read it. Like, everybody else might do a voice, but they won't put in any emotion into the lines or read them in with any sort of meaningful cadence or inflection, which is a real shame, because these scripts, they're so good. They deserve better. I've been sort of fantasizing about animating them, like turning them into an actual watchable, audible thing, visual, right? But I don't know if I'll ever get very far with that. Who knows? We're reading more of them tomorrow. We have, I think, 2 left before we get to either of the other series, and I'm sort of dreading for when mine comes up, because I feel like my script writing, while I had fun doing it, it isn't very good, especially read aloud. And I was in such a terrible state when, like, each time we had time to edit them, that I, like, never really gave mine a proper read over. But I don't know, hopefully it's fine. I might have to cover my ears or something during it. I get terrible embarrassment from work I'm not proud of being acknowledged. Like, there's this terrible pencil drawing of my own face. It's like a shaded pencil drawing of my own face that I did in high school that doesn't look a damn thing like me. Like, the hair is similar, but that's about it. And my mum put it up on the wall because she thought it was great. And every time I pass by it in the hall, I cringe just a little. It's not. It's not me. Oh. I can't say my pencil drawing has improved much since then either. My painting has, though. I've painted since then. I'm not a great painter. And I'm a terrible digital painter. But if I'm working with like physical oil-based paints or acrylics, then I can make something. I feel like that's when I'm best with that. I sort of fantasize about having a greenhouse with lots of plants and then easels and canvases that I can go in there and paint whatever's on my mind or paint whatever scenery I happen to see that day or whatever, right? But paint's expensive and canvases are expensive. So maybe if I'm rich one day I'll do that, but for now, pipe dream. I think I would do themed rooms in my house if I had infinite money. Because I've always liked different environments. They give me different feelings, different moods. And I'd want my office, the room I'm recording this in right now, to have like a nautical theme. I think that would be pretty good. Blue lights and like dark blue walls and maybe a big screen on the ceiling instead of a ceiling light that looks like the underside of the ocean waves. That would be nice. Maybe a fish tank in here. That would be awesome. Though I will say I am terrible at taking care of things. I can barely take care of myself at the moment, so I would not trust myself with a fish. For my bedroom, I've always wanted grass. You never see that, like grass inside, probably because the grass wouldn't have any sunlight, but if I could have like nice long green grass as my bedroom floor, that would be perfect. And then I don't know, I feel like I'd be more inclined to just lay down on the floor and exist, right? Because when I try and lay down in the grass, like in parks and stuff, the grass is always littered with debris and dirt. Well, not, of course there's dirt, the grass comes out of the dirt, but like debris, wrappings, droppings, like animal stuff, dogs especially. And after like one incident where I did roll in something, I am far less inclined to lay down in the grass anywhere. I'm remembering a moment in when I was in middle school. I've mentioned before, I was never a good student. I got in fights with teachers, like verbal fights. Never anything physical. I knew better, but I've always had a problem with sort of that kind of authority. And in middle school, I got fed up with one class that was like an optional class, but I couldn't drop it because you can't drop classes in middle school. So I just stopped showing up, and instead of going to that class, I would go outside and go to the swing set on the playground and just swing, right? Sometimes other kids would show up if they had outdoor activities, but usually it was just me. And there was one time where I was completely alone. It was the middle of the day, and I had my earbuds in, listening to, I don't even remember, but I was swinging, feeling the wind, and I looked up at the sky, as I'd done many times before, but this time I saw things differently. For the first time ever, I noticed how big the clouds were, like physically. The sun was casting a shadow on and around them, showing their depth and their width and their height. And the distance I was swinging on this large swing set was shifting my position enough to give me a parallax to further emphasize how massive clouds are. And there were tons of huge clouds, no wispy clouds, all structured. And looking up at this bright blue sky with these huge clouds, I realized how enormous the world is and how much sky there is up there. And that sort of changed things for me. I always liked being outside, but never liked being away from the computer. But at that moment, I didn't want to go inside back to a computer or back to doing something else. I wanted to stay there just staring at the clouds. Since then, I've gone back a number of times to that swing set to just swing, stare at the clouds, stare at the sunset. There was one time a few years ago. Middle school was a long time ago for me, where I was back there in the middle of the night with a friend, and we were feeling rebellious and thought, what if we could climb the school building? And we tried and failed. We couldn't really find a place to get up. And then while we were swinging on that same swing set, an aurora appeared on the horizon. And we thought, okay, we have to climb the school building. And we did. We found a way up. And from the roof, we could see the whole thing. A bright green and pink aurora over a small little town in the middle of the night, in the middle of the summer. It was an absurd view. We stayed up there until the aurora disappeared, and then we started exploring the rooftops, peering into the classrooms we both once attended. We did have to run though. They had construction people inside the building replacing the flooring, and we didn't know until one of them spotted us from a window we were peering into. And one of them then came outside to confront us. And then we ran, and then we had to get the car, and then the police were patrolling the area, so we had to take a sort of altered route to avoid being stopped by the cops. Still, it was a fantastic night. Comparatively to that summer and the summer before and the summer before. The last 2 summers I've had have been dreadfully boring. Nothing major has happened. There's been no major thing, right? Usually there's like the one night to remember, but everybody's just been so busy or has moved away, such that I don't think there's been much opportunity for things to happen. There've been small things like going camping, which again, I don't like camping, it was terrible, and birthday parties, but beyond that, not half as interesting as the summers that came before. And I wonder to myself, is it going to keep being like that now that I'm an adult, adulting out in the world, constantly busy with work and school? Is this my new baseline? I hope it isn't. I hope I can do better, have a better summer. But for now, it's looking pretty grim. Oh, my voice is getting a little croaky. My mouth's a little dry. Let's drink a little something. There we go. No, it's still bad. I think I'm going to end this one pretty soon. But I think I will do a guitar bit at the end of this one. So for those who are less inclined to listen to that, I wish you a good night and thank you for listening this far. And for those who... Oh, actually, I'd like to mention, the guitar one is the only one out of all these videos that has any dislikes, which doesn't hurt my feelings. I just find it really funny that that's like the thing that that made that happen. Either way, for those who want to listen to it, I will get myself set up and then we'll go at it. Be right back. Okay, so confession time. I've actually recorded this section before, and I took 3 takes to do the song, 2 takes to do the intro, and then recorded 1 outro, and then realized that the song I had picked, the vocal performance, is, while serviceable, entirely in contrast to the vibe of this whole thing. So I've chosen a different song, and I think Casey's, oh, actually I've forgotten the name of the song. Hold on. I gotta find it now. In real time. Oh, the song is Viciously Lonely by the Backseat Lovers. That's the song. Yeah. I am so sleepy that I've actually had to do, I think, 5 takes of this one. So if this is the final one, then I'm leaving this bit in. Sits upon the clouds, right next door is the lost and found. Picking fights with the ghost downstairs, turn off the lights and plug my ears. Ooh. The trees are killing off in a lovely kind of way. And of course I'm pleading from the porch for you to stay. Maybe the winter will cut me some slack this year. Maybe I'm telling myself what I'd like to hear. Tonight I hope I'll fall asleep before my winds do. I might be close to drifting off, but I don't plan to. I'm viciously lonely, lost respect. My best friend is the crick in my neck. Sit back and stone me, toss your rocks. Pretty good aim for count headshots. I messed that line up, hold on. Tend to spend a couple hours a day waiting by the phone, hoping there's nothing to say. Got a feeling my wake-up call is on its way. As my youth begins to expire, slowly put a little less wood on the fire, but maybe it'll turn like a roll of old film, bottle of wine waiting to spill. I'm viciously lonely, tossed around. Most of these days I'm stuck in town. So come on and show me. Play it down, put the band in the deep end and try and get loud. flags are halfway down the poles. That's why the dogs still barking at the fireworks shows. Viciously lonely. It took me way too many tries to get through the first half of that song. And the chords are not necessarily correct or played in the correct order in some parts. But I've come to a realization or an agreement with my brain that there is no playing it wrong as long as it still sounds fine. It just becomes the way I play it, right? There's too much life to live and songs to play to be fretting about missing one chord or a single note in a chord if it still sounds great. Anyway, if you did decide to sit through that and listen up to this point, thank you. And to the commenter who requested Hallelujah, I will play that. I just need to find where my voice sits with it. I have sung it before with the piano, but it gets quite passionate and loud with the deliveries, especially in the second verse. So I'll need to find a way to bring it down to the level of these videos. But I will, and if anybody else has any requests, I will try my best to abide by them. If I can learn to play the requested songs, I will eventually play them. For, I think, the 5th time, thank you for listening. I hope you have a good sleep. If you're listening to this in the middle of the day, you're weird. But I also listen to ASMR videos in the middle of the day, so I'm weird, and that's just fine. Anyways, I'm going to bed. Good night. Sleep well. I'll see you all in 2 or 3 days. When my pseudo weekend comes around, I'll